domestic battery. And then the next part of the story is, well, he put his finger on her cheek in an argument. And now there have been additional details that have come out, allegations, and that his wife is making. I think there's even an allegation of rape that she's making. There was a rape in 2012. I think they got married in 2014.
I don't believe all women.
What a disaster. What an absolute disaster. I agree with what that dude just said. I can't think of his name right now, but I agree with what he just said. I don't automatically just believe women in cases like this, especially when we're talking about a scorned woman, especially when we're talking about a woman who's potentially seeking revenge against her husband. But whether the accusations are true or not, the optics do not look good for Marcellus Wiley. Headline at USA Today: RHOBH Anne Marie accuses Marcellus Wiley of sexual assault in divorce filing. What? RHOBH? I thought it was LGBTQ. What the hell does RHOBH mean? Uncle KC had to look it up. Apparently, RHOBH is the acronym for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which kind of makes me even more skeptical of some of the allegations against Marcellus Wiley. Reality TV stars, they are known for embellishing, over-exaggerating. And I don't say that as a negative. That's what reality television is. That's what reality TV stars are supposed to do. Reality TV is an embellishment of reality. For those that don't know, former FS1 and ESPN star Marcellus Wiley was arrested over 4th of July weekend. He was charged with domestic battery. When translated from legalese to English, I believe that translates to putting an unwanted bruise on your wife's caboose. As you can see here, though, it appears that Marcellus Wiley was heavily intoxicated. To make matters worse, his 7-year-old child was supposedly present during the altercation he had with his wife, where he was allegedly intimidating her and allegedly poking her in the cheek with his finger. Like I said, I don't automatically believe all women in these situations, but it's kind of hard to come to the defense of Marcellus Wiley when he appears to be intoxicated. Since the arrest, Anne Marie Wiley, she has went public with claims against her soon-to-be ex-husband. She is filing for divorce. She's accusing him of assaulting her both physically and sexually. Now you gotta remember, there are already 4 other women accusing Marcellus Wiley of sexual assault. Now, in his defense, those accusations came out, I want to say in April or May, and we haven't heard a damn thing about him since. Initially, Marcellus Wiley, he was being held in jail without bond, which is strange for a first-time offender with a domestic violence charge. But eventually, he was released on bond. Once he said goodbye to his cellmate Rufus and re-entered the free world, Marcellus Wiley was doing exactly what he was supposed to be doing. He was exercising his right to remain silent. But last night, Marcellus Wiley just couldn't help himself. He opened his mouth and proceeded to make himself look even worse. Before I show you his statement, I wanted to give you guys a quick heads up. After the video tomorrow morning, I'm going to be traveling out of town for the weekend. I'll be back Sunday morning and should be back here on YouTube Sunday afternoon, but there will be no videos on Friday and Saturday this weekend. Last night, Marcellus Wiley released a statement on Twitter. Check it out for yourself. I'm saying this for my children. Oh, the children. It's all about the children. For their sake, I am being forced to respond with evidence rather than emotion. You're not being forced to respond. Matter of fact, it's probably best if you don't respond publicly, because you're not going to convince anyone of your guilt or your innocence, and you could potentially make yourself look even worse or petty. And some of this so-called evidence that Marcellus Wiley provided, it's petty. For example, my wife cast a voodoo spell on my family. She forced my personal voodoo doll to consume alcohol, which made me appear intoxicated in my mugshot. Plus, fans hated her on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She was kicked off that show because she's insane. Voodoo dolls? Voodoo dolls. Really? That's the evidence you're providing? Your wife is spending her free time sticking needles into some doofus doll? And what the hell does fan reactions on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills have to do with anything? It's a reality TV show, which means it's similar to the WNBA. It ain't real. It's make-believe. Look, I understand Marcellus Wiley wanting to publicly defend himself. I get it, especially if the accusations are false. My guess is the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle, and both Marcellus Wiley and his wife are guilty of something. What I don't understand, and I will never understand, making your personal business public. I don't have a side here, but to me, both Marcellus Wiley and his wife are wrong with how they are handling this situation. How hard is it to keep your mouth shut? It's actually very simple. You just close your mouth and keep it closed. Most problems in life, they are either directly caused or they are amplified by the inability to keep your mouth shut. Recently, my daughter learned this the hard way. Over the summer, she's been working at her first job. The owners sent out an email to all employees notifying them that a couple of people had either quit or been fired. Since there are a lot of kids working there with this being their first job, they don't know that this is pretty much standard procedure. They got all nervous. They were worried that they would be next to be fired and lose their jobs. My daughter, she is telling her co-workers that she didn't really feel comfortable or like the email. The gossip gets back to management because someone couldn't keep their mouth shut, and they end up having a meeting over office gossip. When she came home and told me about it, I told her, you got to be careful with what you say at work. This isn't a big deal for you now because it's just a part-time summer job. But this is why I wanted you to have a part-time summer job, so you could learn lessons like this now when you have a job that you don't really need, instead of learning this lesson when you are dependent on your job to survive. These people at work are not your friends, so you might want to be careful with what you say. If you're really smart, you'll go to work, do your job, and keep your mouth shut. Keeping your mouth shut will help you avoid a lot of problems in your life. Whether the allegations are true against Marcellus Wiley or not, and I hope they're not, he didn't do himself any favors by releasing that statement on social media yesterday. He came off petty. He's publicly embarrassing the mother of his children. I have been through a divorce. Now, it was years before I was doing YouTube. It was years before I was a quote unquote public figure, or whatever you want to call it, whatever I am. But I would handle my divorce the same today as I did back then. My parents still don't know why me and my first wife got divorced. Why? Because I never told them, and they never really asked. It was none of their business. The only person in my life who knows is my wife now. And the reason isn't really that interesting. There was no scandal or anything, but it's no one's business but mine. Just like this divorce between Marcellus Wiley and his wife is no one's business but theirs. Problem is, they keep making it public business. You know, I had every intention of leaving this story alone after we talked about it the other day on the second channel. Like I told you guys the other day, I've always viewed Marcellus Wiley as one of the good guys in media. I was never an avid viewer of his show, but seems like a good dude, or as he calls himself, dat dude. Of course, now he is dat dude in handcuffs, but Marcellus Wiley, he always presented himself as the all-American family man. He was relentless in exposing his former colleagues in mainstream sports media. Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharpe, Joy Taylor, which is fine. That's fine. But if you're going to expose other people's secrets, you better be damn sure you don't have secrets of your own. Because if you do, if you present yourself as the all-American family man, if you present yourself as the purveyor of truth, and this entire time you've been living a lie, then you instantly lose your credibility. And once you lose credibility, it is damn near impossible to get it back. And posting statements like this on social media, this does nothing to boost your credibility. To me, this makes Marcellus Wiley look desperate, petty. You claim that you're going to provide evidence, you claim that you're doing this for your children, then you proceed to provide no evidence and make yourself and the mother of your children look even worse. If your wife had an affair, if you've been having parental issues with your wife, why didn't you leave her? If you're insinuating that your children are unsafe with their mother, which I would assume that's what Marcellus Wiley means by serious and damaging parenting failures, if that's the case, why did you stay married? This is what I mean by keeping your mouth shut, keeping your personal business personal. You're not doing yourself any favors. You're not changing anyone's opinion. The only thing Marcellus Wiley is doing is causing people to ask more questions, when what you want people to be doing is forgetting about what happened. I wish him nothing but the best, but sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.